Hey guys, Huzzy here bringing you another video. Now welcome to something very different. This is a vlog. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to vlog. I don't know how big the video will be, but this is something a bit special, something a bit different. So I got invited to the Player Summit, and that's where I am right now. So I'm in the EU one. There is one happening in NA. This is the EU one. So I am in Berlin. And this is the day before. It's going to be quite a jam-packed couple of days that we just arrived, literally. Me and Skin Spotlights just checked in. We travelled together. We're going to meet up for food in about 25 minutes. And we just got into the hotel. I'll show you around. And then basically what this is, by the time I upload this video, I will not upload this video until like all the embargoes are lifted, because there's like 3 or 4 different embargoes. We're covering different things. So this video may come out in like a month's time. But I will obviously, before when this video comes out, I'll talk about certain things when certain things are lifted. Like on the 5th, today is the 3rd, on the 5th in 5 PM, I'm allowed to say I went to the Riot Games Arena, but I'm not allowed to say why. But obviously in this vlog, I'll say why. Sorry if I'm not looking at the camera. It's distracting. But before we get into it, let's actually do a room tour, so I'll get on with that. Okay, so here's the front door to the room. This is a hotel that is specialist in business stuff. We have like our own little kitchenette. So again, this is, I think, designed for people who are coming to Berlin for business. Hello, there's me. But it's really nice, and it's very modern. So yeah, elevated bed. We've got stairs in the bedroom, very fancy. It's all airline and plane themed, being an airport hotel. TV, so, you know, I have got my laptop and stuff, but, you know. And then over here, I will be definitely making use of coffee. We do a breakfast in the morning, but I don't know what else could be here. There's a fridge with nothing in it, but I guess water can go in there. And, oh, free of charge water, that's good. And hopefully the biscuits are free, because they will definitely be eaten. I've not really had any food yet today. And here's the bathroom, which, really big shower, like huge. I've not really gone in here yet myself. I've not used anything, don't worry. But yeah, no, it's really nice. So again, some of you may remember my last kind of vlog like this, believe it or not, was League 10, which was all the way, oh, that's my hand, all the way back in 2019. I have been invited to some little things here and there over the last few years, but I said no to them a lot. The last one was Worlds, and I was going, everything was booked, had a hotel, everything, but anxiety got the better of me there. And the reason why I've done this one, and I'm going, and I'm here, I'm in Berlin, is I didn't want to let anxiety beat me again. And trust me, it was really bad, especially this morning before leaving and driving to the airport and stuff, but I got through it. What helps, I think, a little bit is this is a private event. You know, there's only a very select people that's been invited. It's very secret, hush-hush, so it's not like a big public-facing event or anything like that. So I think that probably helped. But yeah, overall, I'm excited. From my knowledge, what tomorrow may bring is we are testing a new game mode. We are testing, or seeing at least, a new champion, I believe. So obviously, as I said, this video will not be launched until all the embargoes are finished and done. You know, I can date it. So today's June 3rd. So this video could be coming out in July. Because apparently, I think some of the embargoes are in July. So if I talk about stuff in this video, I don't want to be breaking an embargo. So I have to kind of just wait until they're all done and finished. But yeah, as for food, I think we're going to meet up again in 5:30, which is just about 15 minutes from now. We know there's a supermarket nearby, but we also saw there's a Subway nearby. So I think we're probably going to do something low-key. I really want to go to the local supermarket for a few reasons. I like collecting bags for life, like, you know, like the big thick plastic bags that are from supermarkets. I like them from different countries. I use an Italian one right now as my normal, so I want to get a German one if I can. And then yeah, just picking up some like biscuits and stuff that I can take home to Queen Pleb. That would be nice. But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty low key. I think we'll probably go get food, and then I'll probably just say I'm going to go to my room and just relax, and then hopefully get a good night's sleep. And then tomorrow will be an early start. So the Riot Games Arena is about a 10-minute walk from here. So we need breakfast. So and we have to get to the arena for 9 AM. So I'll probably go down for breakfast around 8, you know, chill, have a nice breakfast, leave here probably about 8:45, and then get over there and then begin the day. And then we're doing the whole day. I'll try and vlog little bits that I'm allowed to. The event finishes at 5 p.m. and we have to go straight to the airport, literally straight to the airport, and we'll be on a flight in a couple of hours after that and back to London. So yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy this. I don't really know what this video is going to be. I've got no idea, but hopefully it'll be fun, and I'll see you guys whatever's to come in this video. Hey guys, so welcome to the next part of the kind of Berlin trip vlog video. So if I've done the video that I'm expecting so far, you would have had the intro that I filmed at the hotel, and then the room tour. You know, I like doing the room tour because it's fun. And I will say I partially like doing these videos because in years to come, you know, I'll delete the photos and videos off my phone, or I'll get a new phone and not transfer stuff. But this video will always be up. So in 10 years time, I can go, oh, remember that trip to Berlin? And I can see the hotel, you know? It's just kind of fun for me. But this part of the video is going to be talking about the more, you know, what we actually did, talking about it in detail. But then also I wanted to begin more about the mental side of the trip and how, for me, it was quite important to go. And, you know, how do I feel about it? You know, in general, do I feel it was really good? Do I feel, you know, how was I in general? Because the way that I see it is, as someone that has anxiety, hearing other people beat in anxiety is useful. It is, because sometimes you do feel like it's a bit of an abyss and you can't achieve things, but when someone else has got anxiety and you do hear they got through it, I think it does help. So what I'll do is I think what the order I'll do it, I'll first talk about the trip itself, you know, details about it, and I'll bring photos up, and then I'll probably end with the more like, how did I do mentally side. So the trip itself, obviously you got it from now, but we were invited to the Riot Games Arena in Berlin. We vaguely knew what we were going there for. We were basically given a document that was kind of like a before you go document, and it gave us like an itinerary of the kind of general things to expect, and we saw ARAM was on that, and obviously the new champion Yunara, and a meta game. So by the time I upload this vlog, obviously my first video dropped, the Yunara video and stuff would have dropped. I'm probably going to do a separate video on the meta game as well, and then this video is going to be coming after all of that. So technically I'll be making 4 videos about the trip, I believe. So we basically began the day meeting up at the Riot Games Arena, obviously at 9 a.m. The hotel that they had us in was literally a 10-15 minute walk away. It was a nice little walk, to be honest, you know, just kind of get awake, as it were, because obviously with the time, you know, difference and everything, waking up, for me, I woke up at 7 a.m. to get showered and ready. Well, that really, for my body and mind and everything, was 6 a.m. So it was nice to have that 10-15 minute walk just to be like, right, we're awake. And obviously, yes, I did go down for breakfast, had a coffee, had a bit of breakfast. Nothing too much because I didn't want to have too much, but it was good. So realistically, we were kind of waiting around for about a 30 to 45 minute period when we arrived. We got our name badge, which I can hang on, show you. There we go. So we were given one of these on the entrance. We had to sign it ourselves because basically it depended what you wanted to be known as. So some people had their actual name, some people had their gamer tag. Obviously, I went in as my gamer tag because that's how people know me. But obviously, press people, they may have not had anything to do with their name. They may have had just like IGN or something like that on it. But I do like keeping lanyards. I've got a bit of a collection that has fallen down, but I kind of keep them all back here. It's a nice memento to keep, as it were. So we were in the kind of the lobby area at first. Now, obviously, most people that have watched this video have probably never been to the Riot Games Arena in Berlin. Obviously, to watch either the LEC or Valorant, or obviously World stages or MSI stages may have been played there throughout the years. But there's basically a lobby as you come in that has kind of a waiting room, that has a kind of snack bar, drinks bar kind of thing, a few seats and tables, and then a merch store. So again, I might bring up images as I'm talking about all this stuff. And then in the first kind of official thing that we did of the day, we were actually escorted to the seating area. As you know, if you went to go watch LEC, this is the only main places that you're allowed to go are the lobby area that we were waiting in, and then you can go sit down to go watch the games. Obviously, I'll be telling we were allowed to go everywhere behind the scenes and stuff, but we weren't advised to film stuff. Probably more of a security thing, that they didn't want like people being able to work out like, oh, if you head down that corridor, slip through here and go left, then you might be able to find Fnatic players or something. So we didn't really film any stuff like that, but we took many photos of the more kind of visual things that people are allowed to see. But yeah, the first thing we did was basically in essence, presentation from several of the devs, some EU, but also some American. Obviously, all the game dev side of League and Riot is done in America. So we had some American devs who have flown over, and they were very jet lagged. The day before the EU one, they had the American one. And from my knowledge, they literally left the American one, got on a plane all the way to Berlin, and then was basically presenting and doing the EU day one. There was 2 days in EU. There was 1 day in NA. This is the first ever time that they've done anything in EU, which is pretty cool. But overall, it was a pretty nice presentation. Obviously, most of the stuff that they spoke about is the stuff that obviously we're allowed to talk about. Obviously, it's the ARAM update, which I think has been perceived very well. Then, obviously, the new champion Yunara and her meta game, and then a bunch of stuff to do with skins. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't really care that much about the skin side, but obviously, they want to try and hype it. That's their money maker, so they did bring up all the skins, but I didn't really care that much about the skin side. I care more about gameplay and stuff like that. So, it was a good presentation. It lasted maybe about an hour, little bit of a Q&A. And then we got escorted to our room for the day. So it was pretty cool. Basically, this is when we started to be able to go anywhere we wanted. And we had a 2.5-3 hour play session initially, playing the ARAM update on the new map. So it was really good. And obviously that video has already come out. The one that I have already uploaded. Well, technically, I'm recording this before I do the Yunara video, but by the time this video launches, the Yunara video and the metagame video are already out too. But yeah, we did the ARAM stuff. We went unbeaten, and I actually, again, I had the highest damage and highest kills, I believe, in every single game that I played of ARAM. I was tryharding a little bit, if I'm honest. Not fully. But obviously, the average player who was at this event wasn't great. I know there was a challenger AD carry player who I played against later in the day on Yunara and I beat. But his support wasn't very good. That was when me and Dums were bot lane. So me as a master level player, but as an AD carry player, I don't know, a Diamond 1 level AD carry player at the moment maybe. And we were against a challenger AD carry player, and I don't know the rating of his support, but we kind of got fed off his support a little bit. Obviously, Dums was playing his Lilia, and I think Dums has made it to Diamond 1, but then I think he's demoted down to Diamond 4 or something recently. So that was fun. So we had the play session, did a recording session, then we had lunch. So back in the kind of foyer area, had a nice lunch, pretty chill. Then we had the afternoon session of Yunara and her meta game. So again, by the time that this vlog video is out, that will be out too, and I might bring up some footage even in this. But yeah, so she's an AD carry, going back to kind of core basics. So she is an AD carry as kind of they come. She auto attacks. She has a movement speed steroid. Her ultimate is an empower ultimate. So when you press R, it makes her other abilities do other things. And yeah, she's pretty basic. But I'm not against that, because recent AD carries have been a little bit problematic, Smolder and stuff like that, because they've tried to go a little bit outside of the norm. So actually going back more to a normal AD carry, I think, is healthy. I will say I think she's going to be semi hard to balance because she is quite basic. And hilariously, basic champions can be quite difficult to balance, because it's not like a champion with a overpowered kit. You can just remove pieces of their kit and they'll probably still be okay. You can't do that to already a basic champion. So you need to be perfect with the numbers of balance, and that's quite difficult. But she was fun. I enjoyed playing her. So I started in a practice tool, and I spent about 10-15 minutes just getting combos down, getting her build down on training dummies, and then also, using the auto refresh kind of cooldown thing. I got really used to her jump mechanic of her empowered E. So when you ultimate, her E isn't a movement speed steroid, it's a dash. And there are some walls you can dash, and there's some that you can't. So I literally went all over Summoner's Rift, dashing every single wall, learning what paths you can and can't do. And then obviously we had the match against the challenger AD carry guy, and we did really good. Obviously, I carried quite well. I know Skin Spotlight's in that game. He was playing the Kale. I think later he said he found out that Akali was also like a very high level gamer, maybe an ex-challenger player as well. So yeah, it was hard to win that game, but we carried it quite well, and it was a fun game to play, and hopefully people will enjoy it. Now again, I don't know how I'm going to do all the Yunara content. There's a small chance I might do the Yunara breakdown and then upload the actual game of her separately, because not many people, obviously, in the world, a lot of people, they might try and make the breakdown of abilities, but I've got a full game that I've played of the champion. Not many people have that. Because obviously, it is worth saying, I was very grateful that I was the one that was allowed to play Yunara in our 5v5. Because basically, when we were in the room, we all looked at each other, kind of wanting to play the new champion for content. And we basically went, who's the best player in the room? And it was me. So, let Huzzy play it. He's the best player, so let him play it first. So that's basically how it worked. I think Dumb's got to play a game of Yunara later in the day. But what was actually really nice, and I will say, obviously, Dumb's, I was semi-familiar with his stuff before the trip. He was obviously a decently big content creator himself. I think he's got like 500,000, viewers on his main channel. And then his second channel is also not small. He actually, at the end of the game that we laned together and did really well together, he was like, when we get the footage sent to us when we get home, can I get your perspective from that game? So I was like, hell yeah. Because I've already been in one of his videos I saw on his second channel, Dumb's Live, I think. And, he did give us a shout out, Skin Spotlights, Huzzy Games, Jizaku, I think you pronounce it, and the Gamer Press Guy. So that was really cool. And then basically that was mainly the day done. We played her meta game, which was obviously the 2D action side scroller game, which was fun. I got the highest score you can get on my first go, but I don't think it's that hard, which was an S+. And then basically the day finished. We had an hour if you wanted just to do Q&A, mingling. It wasn't like a sit back down in the auditorium and have a proper Q&A. It was everyone was back in the lobby area. And if you wanted to go talk to rioters, you could. So I had little chats here and there, nothing major. Because I'll be honest, there were things I thought about Yunara, but I already kind of got them out earlier in the day. And I don't know, I think I had so much pent-up anxiety about the trip. I was like, oh my God, we're done. From here, we're going straight to the airport. I can just go, huh. And then, that was an interesting feeling. And I guess now we can kind of go more into how did I actually do mentally wise about the trip. So we'll say, probably not the prettiest thing to say in the morning, but the morning that I left the UK, left my house, I was terrible. I was throwing up in the shower. That sounds awful, and it was. But yeah, I was having quite bad anxiety attacks. And there are reasons for it. It really sucks, and I think people may, hopefully know, but as someone, it's going to sound weird. Anxiety is not normal for me, but it's something that has developed over the last few years about, obviously, with the situation that I went through. I used to be one of the most outgoing people that I know. I still am quite outgoing when I'm in the mode, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it's the before that I struggle with now. It's the getting myself out the door. It's getting myself to go to a thing that I struggle with because I get all these bad thoughts flood into my head. What if this happens? What if that happens? And unfortunately, obviously, the last event I was invited to from Riot, and I had everything was booked. I had a ticket, had a hotel room from them, was Worlds, and unfortunately, anxiety won. There were a couple other things going on at the same time. In the background that were also contributing to stuff, but anxiety was also a pretty big deal. with it as well. So I'm happy to say I didn't let it win this time. So the moment I got into my car, I was like, right, I'm going. So unfortunately, it wasn't at a local airport. It was at a further one away, about a 2-hour drive to Heathrow. Well, obviously one of the busiest airports practically, I think, in the world. So I drove there. It was fine drive. I like driving, and that probably actually helped me, if I'm honest. You know, by about half an hour in, I just kind of settled into it. And then one thing that Queen Pleb has noticed about me over the last few years is I basically turn... It's going to sound really weird what I'm about to say, because, like, I am... If you meet me, you know, when I'm talking to this camera right now, if you meet me, I'm the same person, but I also turn into Huzzy. And that's basically what happened. Is the moment I got to the airport, I got through security, I wasn't really me anymore, I was Huzzy. And, you know, you won't really be able to tell much of a difference. You know, if you knew me in my personal life, knew me recording, you won't tell much. But it's that confidence layer that I basically just have. It's a difference. It's not showing any type of anxiety. It's not showing that I'm a duck underwater going, ah. It's being that relatively calm, just, you know, mellow. And that's basically what I remember for the rest of the trip. Is, you know, I didn't have anxiety for the rest of the trip. I met Skin Spotlights. You know, I got through security first. We organised to meet near the Starbucks, and he met me about 15 minutes after I turned up there. And then we were just having a nice chat then for hours. You know, I learned some things that I won't repeat here because he obviously knows a lot more stuff behind the scenes. Some very interesting stuff. So, yeah, we got the plane, easy trip. Easy Uber, you know, this is the thing, I was doing all like the Ubering and everything. I then said, let's go, you know, meet up to get food, you know, after getting to the hotel. We went to the supermarket. Dude, I don't know if there's any Germans watching. I'll put the grocery bag up on the screen that I got. I like buying thick plastic grocery bags from foreign countries. It's a thing. I got one, obviously, from this German supermarket. If this is a normal supermarket, that's a TARDIS. It was ridiculous. It was a tiny little entrance. You go in, and then it was the biggest supermarket I've ever been in my life. It was on 2 floors, in like the most inconspicuous building that you've ever seen in your life. I do not understand how it fits in that building. It was huge. So we got some food, got some snacks, got to my hotel room, and, you know, I kind of just chilled. You know, I had an early night. I went to bed maybe about 10 p.m. in Germany, which would have been 11 p.m. in how my body was feeling. And I was pretty good. You know, on the day itself of the event, felt really nice. You know, the anxiety wasn't there. And I said it on stream before I kind of left for the trip. I was kind of expecting this moment of when I saw my car, when I landed back at Heathrow, got to the short stay car park, and I saw my car. I kind of felt like I was going to have this moment of, I didn't. I had it later in the trip, and I'll later in the drive. The reason why I didn't have that and relax moment is because I paid for parking. It's really expensive. I am hoping Riot refunds me for the parking. It was £128 parking for one night at Heathrow. So again, I do hope I'm going to get that refunded. My influencer manager, she's on holiday now this week, so I'm going to wait till she comes back next week. I mentioned it to her at the event, and she was like, oh, we'll try and get that refunded for you. So I couldn't relax the moment I got into my car, you know, have that just quick 5 minutes of and breathe. You know, I've just got through passport control, security at Heathrow, get to your car, relax, you've done it, well done, you've got through it. Didn't have that moment because I paid for parking, I think, until 10 p.m. on that day. I got into my car at 9:55 p.m. and there was traffic in the car park to leave. So I couldn't have that, just decompress, relax a little bit, and now go. I got in my car, turned the power button, and drove. I didn't even set my sat-nav. Like, I was like, right, get out of the car park, get through that security barrier, then I can pull over if I need to set sat-nav. I got out of the car, the barrier went up at 9:59 p.m. I'm not kidding. 9:59. So that was, again, that was like, I can't leave. But yeah, I got through. I didn't pull over. I just kind of, obviously with CarPlay and stuff, I just told my car, set me home. And then hilariously, that drive, it was fine. Obviously, it was late. I got home just around midnight. But that drive also wasn't the smoothest. The way that in my head, I was like, right, I'm going to go, this road and this road and this road. There was all works traffic on the way home, so I had to go this way that I've never been before. It took me weird country roads, like 11:30 at night, and I'm like, dude. Again, I like driving, so it wasn't a big deal, but I just wanted to kind of stick on big main motorways just to kind of, I was tired from doing a whole day of recording, talking, Q&A, playing really well, but try-harding kinda, trying to get good content recorded while I'm there, having, again, the social side of being social to people that I'm meeting for the first time, and also meeting rioters that are coming up to me and going, oh, it's Huzzy, whatever. To then have a drive that wasn't just basic motorway was also like, oh, God, I'm just dead. So I will say it did take me a few days to recover. Physically, not as much. It was the mental recovery more than anything, because when I finally basically got to a town that I knew, I don't mind saying, but I'm making my way up basically, and I got to Royston and I was like, oh my God, I know Royston. I used to go to a gym in Royston. I'm now about a 50 minute drive roughly home. I was like, I know where I am. That's the moment that I finally relaxed. Like, genuinely, and I was still driving, so I didn't relax fully, but I finally went, because I then knew where I was. I knew I was about 50 minutes away from home. That was a good moment. And then obviously I got through the front door. Queen Pleb was sleeping, but she came downstairs with Maya. Maya went absolutely nuts. I literally got out of my car, walked to the front door, and I could hear her mooing. Maya's ooh, because Queen Pleb was literally like, oh, Daddy's home. So that was a really, really nice moment. And we did it. So I did the trip, And to me, it is a victory. It is something that I'm proud that I did. I was so, I don't know, nervous is not the right word, but I was just caught up in my own head a lot about the trip. But I would say Skin Spotlights was a pleasure to be with. We've known each other hilariously for a decade or more at this point. We were joking that of the people that were in the room, we were the two oldest in terms of we've done the content for the longest here easily, and we've seen League change. We were talking to people that didn't know some of the basic stuff, like we were talking about Season 1 League of Legends, that there was an MMR rank system. People didn't even know that existed. They were like, wait, what? There wasn't just ranks? It's like, no, Platinum existed, but your number was actually the thing that showed. People had no idea. So we were reminiscing with people about oh yeah, we've seen League go up and down. We've seen the changes. So it was nice. And having him there was actually just kind of a nice person to spend time with. And obviously he's a content creator, but he's not on camera. He's not a personality on camera and stuff. So actually just hanging out with him was actually quite fun. Our flight on the way home also got delayed. That was also why, by the way, my parking was so close timed. Our flight was delayed by 45 minutes. Where obviously, and getting through security and all that stuff, I worked out when I was initially paying for the parking, I was like, oh, I should have about an hour window. Turned out I had 1 minute. So, note to self, next time I'm booking parking, maybe give it an extra hour just in case. But overall, I really did enjoy the event. They were also really hopeful of doing these type of things more. One thing that they were quite open about is obviously leaks have gotten quite bad in League nowadays, and there are reasons for that. These leakers are being given it by content creators. There is no other way to go about it. Some of the stuff that has come out from our trip, they would only have that by being given it from people that went, which sucks. It does suck that there are people who are being invited to these events are giving these leakers stuff. But Riot was talking about that they do want to do stuff about it. And one of the ways of going about it is by doing more of these events, being more selective, being careful with who they're giving information out to. And again, I'm not saying that they will do this, but we all speculated. There was we woke up for breakfast on the day of the event, and me and Skin Spotlights were at breakfast, and we were like, have you seen the Yunara leak? And Yunara was leaked. Her kit was wrong, which was quite funny. Like, her E had a stealth on it. She doesn't have a stealth. So we're kind of guessing Riot is starting to doing baiting, that they basically give some information to different people, and if that information appears online of a leak, then they know the people that they gave that specific information potentially are the ones that are giving it up. There are other ways of doing it. You know, I remember, you know, I'm not saying Riot does this, but in all the documentation that we're given, all they need to do is kind of do... there was a TV show years ago that they went, or like a lawyer show or something, that they basically were trying to also find a leak. And the way that they went about it was they had a big document that basically people were just leaking online instantly. So they would give a technically different document to every single person. But within that document, everything would look identical, everything would be identical, apart from an extra space here, or a extra full stop. Something that is not really that noticeable, like an extra space is not noticeable just randomly to the human eye on a random page, but that unique space on page 3 was only given to Jim, and the Bob was given a different space somewhere else in his document. So if it came online that the extra space on page 3 was the one that went online, then Jim was the one that probably gave up the document. They should do stuff like that. They might already be doing it, I don't know. But they were quite hopeful that they will be doing more events in EU. And specifically probably going back to Berlin. It's the best place to do it, you know. I presume the North American version, they go to the LEC, whatever the hell it's called nowadays. They go to where that's filmed, because they have the computers. They have the stage that you can do a presentation. So it does make the most sense. This is where they do them. But overall, successful trip. I'm very proud of myself that I did it, and I think I'm okay to say that, you know. To some people, it won't be a big deal, but for me, it was a big deal. I have turned down a lot of opportunities over the last few years that I wish I didn't, but my brain just didn't let me a lot of the time. And, you know, my brain, a few years ago, I would just say instantly no to these events. And then in the last year or two, I would say yes, but then closer to the time, I then would back out, and that happened to 2 different events. And then this one, I was like, I'm not backing out. I'm doing it. And, you know, it was awful on the morning. It was awful getting through the anxiety attack and stuff, but I got through it. And we did it. So I am overall really happy. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little video, little bonus. This one is probably going to be on Huzzy Extra, probably. But I think all the other content from the event is probably going to be on Huzzy Games. But yeah, just want to say thank you guys, as always, for sticking with me. And hopefully you're enjoying the content. I will say I'm recording this at the kind of the middle beginning of June. I'm overall pretty happy with the content at the moment. You know, views are a little bit up what they were a few weeks ago. Hopefully that trend continues. So yeah, I'm doing a lot better in many ways mentally. And hopefully the subathon will go well. I do have nerves and anxiety about that, but hopefully it'll go well. But as always, thank you guys so much. Hopefully you enjoyed this little insight video, and I'll see you guys next time.
Welcome to the Rift, where the legends play. It's Huzzy Games bringing skill every day. From tips to tricks and play so fine, you'll learn the game and have a good time. Thanks for watching, you're the real MVP. Hit that like and sub, join the family tree. Like, comment and subscribe, keep the Huzzy dream